Don't you love when we just have to clean up cards in both games? Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. About time. We have the official Banlist update for the OCG here, and it's really like, if it's a problem in one side of the game, it's probably going to be a problem in the other half later on. So, newly banned. Wow. We are seeing Expulsion finally getting ripped out of the OCG. This is amazing to me that it took the OCG, kind of this long to address Expulsion, because they do have access to the Gimmick Puppet lock, and I guess they just didn't want to go after the Gimmick Puppet monster itself, which is kind of crazy to me to think about that, like the TCG went down, took care of Expulsion, we took care of the Gimmick Puppet monster, so we just took care of a lot of the unfair methods that Expulsion necessarily had with it. And I guess this means that, I don't think we're going to see any more support for Branded at this point, which is already a crazy tall order as it was. The fact that, Branded even got support in the first place, the Fallen in White just turned into such a great thing. And now it's just kind of showcasing here that, I think Konami wants to keep that deck around for a little while, and without touching, Fallen and Virtuous, like banning that card. This is probably the next best effective method to kind of clean things up. So, alright. So, going to Oneville. Wow. Alright, well, there is a lot to take in here. Alright. So, first of all, the Vanquished Soul Holly Sue going to 1. So, it looks like they're following us on this one. We did kind of feel like our best cleanup method with this card was just, shifting it to 1. You don't have to worry about, like, the craziness that this card has to offer. Like, I'm honestly accepting of this. Now, this is the fact that Droll and Lockbird is going to 1 right now in the OCG. Look at previously what happened to Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring on the OCG side. We had noticed that, when players were complaining about Ash Blossom effectively ruining the casual play experience, dear old Konami had to come in and nip that in the bud. And that's kind of what we're seeing here, Droll and Lockbird's definitely one of those cards that will come in and inconvenience the player base. It's right now, it's at 2 in the TCG. I'm wondering if we're going to see Droll actually shift down to 1, but Droll is kind of about the balancing factor depending on which side of the game, you're kind of looking at. So that's interesting to me. We do see March Hare going to 1 here. This is Malice, for them to want to keep alive that deck on their side of the game is so crazy to me. And they could have just went down our side, took care of the white binder, and navigated with that line. And I think most players would have just kind of called that a day. But no, the OCG is just like, no, we're going to keep this alive. So that's that. Singing Kaiman going to 1. This is, I think, a long time coming for the OCG. Tenpai was kind of, every Blue Moon Tenpai would just show up and do things. Like, it shouldn't be like a scary deck. It's just going to come up and do something. And also, every time that there's a stupid, 1 out of 1 YCS, the players gravitate towards Tenpai because it's just turn your brain off and just watch it go to town and win games. Like, this is a very, very, very negative effect on 1 out of 1 events. We've also got, well, this is not surprising. Secret Village is going to 1. So, I guess with all the spellcaster stuff, all the charmer madness, because you gotta remember, Secret Village is an actual problem in the OCG, because you've got the Endymion stuff, you have the Fairy Tale stuff built into the same deck. When you have a spellcaster good stuff pile running around, yeah, you actually need to do something about this card. I would not be surprised in a future ban list here that we see Seeker Village actually getting taken care of and put down in the OCG. Because this just kind of feels like, you know, one of those courses is probably going to be the best way to go about it. They cleaned up the Mitsurugi tribute spell. Well, you know, TCG and the OCG love to handle this very differently. So going down and taking care of this instead of going after Habagiri, I mean, I guess is the best way to go about it. You've also got to remember, you know, the OCG does have the triple demise. So you just want to keep the deck, I guess, alive, which is crazy. Looks like we're seeing the good old fusion here going to 1. So I guess this effectively just puts Drago Tail in the ditch, right? Like, we're not going to be seeing any madness out of this. Dimensional Barrier to 1 as well. So if you don't know, OCG has access to Dimensional Barrier still. And Barrier has been a pretty big problem in a lot of their decks. Like, I've seen this thing in so many side decks. Like, it is insanely unhealthy for the amount of promotion that this card actually has. And same thing here. They're taking Featherstorm and putting it to 1. So, I mean, like, you have a lot of limits here to clean up a lot of things. But this is... the goal of this is to kind of line us up closer to the TCG. And I guess they just don't want to ban certain cards here, which is kind of crazy. Now, limited to 2. Well, hello there. Diabellstar's going to 2. What a time to be alive, man. To be fair, Diabellstar, Spellcaster, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, Manifester. It's kind of crazy. Ratman. Oh my gosh. I didn't think I would see the time where Rat here would be coming back. But like, Konami, please tell me that this isn't just genuinely screaming Zodiac support. Tell me that there's a game plan to this and we're not actually going to do something crazy with this, because this is interesting. This is actually probably fair now, honestly. We do have Sprite Blue going to 2. I don't know why we kept this card locked up in the OCG. Especially, like, the limitations and things that they put on it. Like, this is kind of crazy. We do have Reno Heart going to 2. Hey, OCG. You wouldn't be trying to bring Tier Elements back into a bigger spotlight now, would you? Because that's a scary thought that many players don't want to have right now. I don't know. This one's interesting. This one's also hilarious to me. OCG is cool with Totally Awesome going to 2. This actually is going to be a pretty big boost to the Shark decks, honestly. I do know, they still have access to Abyss Shark. RIP us having access to this. I don't think we'll do this one. Metamorphosis to 2. Huh. Are we getting close to Metamorphosis actually seeing play? I'm kind of curious about that one. Trickster Reincarnation's also going to 2, because this was limited. So we have Diabellstar going to semi-limited. That's interesting. Ratman coming back. Sprite Blue semi-limited. A lot of unreleases. Oh! Restrictions lifted. Wow, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon is finally going to 3 in the OCG. It's crazy to think about that this card was actually limited to 1. Are things in the OCG... Do you think players are actually going to try multiple Red Eyes Dark Dragoon? It's highly possible this actually ends up being a good thing. And then we have the Sprite starter going to, like, basically full restricted status. Probably next list when we do see, like, a Sprite Blue movement to 3. I think you are going to see some craziness actually happen with this. But this isn't it's a strong list for, like, cleaning up certain things. So, like, there's no, like, surprises. Like, they genuinely did a pretty interesting job on cleanup for this one. And I'm actually kind of all about that. We finally do get to see, like, some decent options here. So please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Patrons! Thank you!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.